Hey, everybody, welcome back to my channel. On today's episode of That Part, everybody's depressed, so we're all reading that part. Listen, I understand that everybody reads for a different reason, okay? But the majority of people who are reading, especially as an adult, in the climate that we are currently living in the USA, okay? We are just consuming all of the books because might as well be in like a fantasy world versus what's occurring right now. You feel me? Or is that just me? I digress. Anyway, so today's episode is going to be why are we all reading? What are you reading? All of that. So, personally, I was never really a big reader growing up. Like, I read at school just to read, like, because I had to. It was part of the syllabus, but I wasn't the one to like pick up a book because I wanted to. No. That shifted in high school when I had modern novel class. That's when I was like, okay, I like this. And then slowly over time, that turned into like self help books when I used to work with my old company. And then that's when the shift really started. I kind of had my eye on reading, but I was a little hesitant. I did see like book talk going around. I was also still a little hesitant. I was looking at the book recommendations, but I didn't go full send. My mom was badgering me for a whole year to read Verity, okay? For a whole year, she lent me her copy. I had it for a full year. And she was like, you need to read this book. You need to read this book. It's a psychological thriller. You need to read this book. Wow. I finished that book in a couple of days and I was hooked. I went through so many Colleen Hoover books. I was just like consuming it, literally. I read the Twisted series by Anne Hathaway. No, Anna Huang. Anne Hathaway. Anna Huang. And I was just like, wow, these are like game changers. Then I read the Elsie Silver series that I have displayed over here, the Chestnut Spring series, devoured that. And then I just felt like I needed a switch up, So then I dove into the world of ACOTAR. Now, at this point, I was like really into like book talk, booktube, all the things. And I know that the hype was hyping for ACOTAR. So I read ACOTAR, and that series alone changed the game. Truly made me into an ACOTAR girly, a fantasy girly. Like it changed my brain chemistry. And it seems that a lot of times when I am obsessed with the series, this is just for me. Hard truth is that life is lifing really hard in some aspect. So when I dive into a series, I'm like in that series, okay? So life was lifing. I'm reading about Valaris and all of these things, and I connected to the female main character because she's an artist. I graduated from college as a double major and I did art. Like, I was obsessed. I was consumed. This was the first time that I ever took a book on vacation. Okay. That truly just solidified how much I was just in this world. And I loved it. I loved it so much so that the following year, when I started my book club, I reread it with my book club. I even did a whole ACOTAR event. I was the night court because even in my book club, I'm known as the High Lady, or I call myself the High Lady. They know me as the High Lady. And it just the trajectory of my reading journey literally was 0 to 100. And I am so grateful for that whole experience that I went on with all of the books, because the times that were really hard and I might have distanced myself and kept myself as in a little bubble, I felt like the fictional characters that I was reading were truly my friends and were just there for me through so many hard times that I couldn't verbally discuss, you know? So that was cathartic. Like, truly, reading is another form of therapy. And of course, having a book club and talking to all my book besties and the community that I had, like, it was amazing. And don't get me wrong, I don't want you to think that I only read when I'm depressed and all this stuff. But as I talk to more people, more women in my life, they are all reading, depending, like, doesn't matter what type of genre it is, they are all reading like to escape on some level, you know? It's the same thing as, you know, TV series. Instead of watching TV, I'm just reading. And reading has impacted so many people's life. I mean, have you heard about the statistics about bookstores? They were dwindling. A lot of bookstores, as, you know, all these stores go through evolution and changes and they close down for reasons, but bookstores specifically were closing all around the USA. And Book Talk, BookTube, Bookstagram, you know, all of the platforms truly brought this whole industry onto another level. Like, Barnes and Nobles was closing everywhere, and now they're franchising and opening up more bookstores. Like, do you remember when Barnes and Nobles had 2 floors and of books? And then for a couple of years, the top floor became offices. And now the offices are gone and they're back to books. Like, and Barnes and Nobles is even going through a facelift and they're changing their whole style and everything. We did that, you know, like, and that's just like on the corporate side. Imagine these authors. And personally, I love reading indie authors, especially because this gets expensive, okay? Buying books gets truly expensive. And for a while, I was just like, buy before I read. And that was too much. That was just too much. That now I have KU, I use Hoopla and Libby. I try to find the book on a different platform for free, if that makes sense. And then if I really liked the book, then I would buy it as a trophy book, because I didn't know that I was going to turn into a trophy book girly. Like, I thought once I read the book, I was going to be done with it. No, I need a physical, tangible copy of the book and I need to display it, you know? So it's just crazy how something so simple that I didn't want to do growing up, as in like reading, that now it consumes me so much that I don't even have a TV in my house. That part. Yeah, wild. I want you to leave down your reading journey, your whole evolution. How has reading changed you? And we could share all of our stories. And yeah, that's my little 2 cents about reading and all of that. So I hope you enjoyed that part podcast, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.